Three of my favorite books as a filmmaker, let's jump right in. Number one is The Artist's Way, and I've made a full video about this on my channel, but I wanted to make this video really geared toward filmmakers. And this book isn't really one that you read start to finish. It's a 12-week course that you're to do tasks every single week, and it's a lot of work, but honestly, the payoffs are huge. In the beginning of the book, the artist tasks you with morning pages, and she tells you to write 3 pages in a journal every single morning. I honestly only do 1, and at first I thought it was really stupid to do this task. I thought it was pointless. And now I'm 2 years later after reading this book, and I filled up like 3 notebooks with all my morning pages, and I think it's so amazing to have something to look back on in life and to have your tangible thoughts on paper. There's no right or wrong way to write the morning pages, and I've had so many people ask me like, what do I write for my morning pages? But it's honestly whatever comes to mind. Like, my goal isn't to write a novel or like a script or anything like that. It's literally whatever comes to mind. If something's bothering me that day, I get it out onto the page, and no matter how stupid it is, no one's reading it or looking at it. I don't even read it back myself. I just get it onto the page and go about my day from there. And you sort of enter the day after that with this clarity, and you're able to tap in more to your creative work because you don't have that on your mind. The reason I love the morning pages is because it's really taught me to do things when I don't want to do them. There's so many times where you wake up in the morning and I write on the page, I don't feel like doing this right now, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And then by the time I get to the end of the page, I'm like so happy I did it because now I'm going through the day with just a very clear mind. And I think that's just such the case with creative work as well as filmmakers. Like, sure, we don't always feel like shooting those videos or creating our passion projects, but by the end of it, we're gonna be so happy we did that. So often we think we need to be in the mood to write, paint, or create, but it's gonna be those days where you force yourself to pick up a pencil or pick up your camera and go out and do something. That will be the days where you come up with your best work. This book really just sparked something in me to not wait on people and just go out and create the things that I want to create, because I feel like so often as filmmakers we're waiting for that director to hit us up, or we're waiting for a producer or a project to land in our lap, when it's just like, in reality, that stuff's not gonna happen. You have to go out and make these opportunities for yourself. And this book really just made me realize that. It's really made me look at my life and my career and this whole like filmmaking thing in a totally different light. And I really think if you're willing to put in the work with this like 12-week course, you'll get so much benefit out of it, so I can't recommend this book enough. So the next book is Storyworthy by Matthew Dicks, and honestly, I've never been a big reader in my life, but I devoured this book in a few days, and that's honestly never happened to me. But I'm constantly referring back to this book when I'm creating these videos, when I'm trying to come up with new projects, and generally go about my life. It really demystifies like telling stories, and it's gonna make you a better conversationalist, because you're gonna know how to make conversations more engaging, and also that's gonna benefit you when you're like talking to a new client or collaborator and like trying to create better work. Storytelling is so important because whether you're a director or a DP, the story is really the backbone of our industry, and it's what's gonna make people want to watch whatever you're putting out, and that'll in turn improve your business, hopefully. This book has really inspired me to go one step further with my work and try to create things with actual meaning to them. In the past, I feel like I've just created things that look really cool but don't really have a deeper meaning to them. So I have been trying to write and hopefully get my own stories out there one day. The biggest light bulb moment in this book for me was when I read this. Every great story ever told is essentially about a 5-second moment in the life of a human being. And the purpose of that story is to bring that moment to the greatest clarity possible. He also talks about really useful storytelling tactics like the elephant. Every story must have an elephant. The elephant is the thing that everyone in the room can see. It is large and obvious. It is a clear statement of the need, the want, the problem. It signifies where the story is headed, and it makes clear to your audience that this is in fact a story. This book really just made me feel that storytelling is very attainable and a tangible thing, and it's just really a skill that you have to hone in on. There's stories that happen to us almost every single day, and it's just a matter of knowing how to tell these stories. And in the book, he has something called Homework for Life, where every day in an Excel spreadsheet, he reflects on one question. If I had a story to tell on stage from today, what would it be? This is a practice that I also took up for about a year, and it's super rewarding because little moments that you would often forget about, I have those documented now in an Excel spreadsheet and can look back at any time in my life and think about these moments I would have otherwise forgotten about. So if you're gonna read any book as a filmmaker or anyone from this list, then I highly recommend Storyworthy Storyworthy by Matthew Dix. Moving on to book number 3, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. This book is like the holy grail of all creative work and has gotten super popular over this last year, and for good reason. So Rick Rubin is a music producer and he's worked with some of the biggest artists in the world, and his philosophy and his lens in which he views life and creativity is super unique. You've most likely seen like short form clips of him on Instagram or TikTok, and if any of that stuff resonated with you, then I highly recommend checking out his book. This book is filled with great anecdotes that I often refer back to when I'm endeavoring on a new project or I'm stuck in a project, and it'll really just give you answers to things like when to let go of a project or which ideas you should focus on, and really just give you a whole new perspective on creativity. This whole book is practically highlighted for me because so much of it resonated, and like every time I open it, I find a new little tidbit that I can take away from it. But like The Artist's Way, it really just taught me to like believe in my ideas, never to turn ideas down, and always write things down and stuff like that, and really just offered me a new insight into creativity as a whole. So often as artists and filmmakers, we want to be creating work and sort of one-up ourselves each time, like telling ourselves this next piece of work has to be better than the previous one. And in the book, Rick says to assume there was a golden period in your past that is only true if you accept that premise. Putting your best effort in each moment in each chapter is all we can ever hope for to accomplish. Things like that resonated with me so much as an artist and filmmaker because we're always so attached to our work. It's so tied into like our self-identity, and he also goes into that in this book as well. This is honestly a book that I'm gonna be carrying with me throughout my whole life, and you could turn to any page and you'll find some insight that is really gonna help you with your journey. So if you made it this far in the video, then honestly thank you so much for watching, and check this one I have queued up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next.